There are monsters in this world that don't hide in shadows or crawl out from nightmares. Some smile at family dinners, fold their hands for prayer, and call themselves protectors. I didn't learn that from fairy tales. I learned it the hard way. My name is Eleanor May Thompson, and I'm 78 years old now. Most people in my town know me as Miss Ellie, the quiet woman who bakes pies for the Sunday church sale and waves kindly to neighbors from her porch swing. They see wrinkles, white hair, soft hands, but no one sees the weight sitting behind my eyes. I grew up in a small, rural town in Georgia, where the summers were thick enough to choke you and secrets stayed buried deeper than fence posts. My family was simple, poor, but proud. My daddy worked long days in the cotton fields. My mama baked bread from scratch and made quilts in the winter. I was the oldest of 3. Then came Paul, 2 years behind me, and the baby, Rose, barely old enough to tie her shoes. Life was ordinary. Chores, dirt roads, fireflies, and nights spent listening to Mama hum hymns while she worked. Until the day everything changed. It was a rainy morning in May of 1957 when I woke to the sound of coughing. Not the kind a cold brings, but the kind that makes you feel like lungs might tear apart. Mama was burning hot with fever, her lips tinted blue. Back then, we didn't have much medical help nearby, just hope, prayers, and stubbornness. Daddy rushed her to the hospital in the next town over, leaving us at home under the supervision of someone we trusted, or thought we trusted. My grandfather, August Thompson, lived with us at the time. Tall, strong, quiet. The kind of man folks respected without knowing why. His voice always sounded final, like a slammed door. All day, the rain fell. I kept Paul and Rose fed, cleaned the house, and pretended everything was okay. But as the sky darkened, the air in our home felt different, heavy, tense, waiting. Hours later, Daddy returned, alone. One look was enough. His clothes soaked, his hands shaking, eyes empty. Mama wasn't coming home. That night shattered something inside me, but I didn't know the worst was still ahead. Because while we grieved, another kind of darkness was already watching, already waiting. And before the sun rose again, I would learn what true evil could look like.
The rest of that night played out
Up
in slow
close.
motion. Like my body was
Because
there,
the
but
night
my
my
mind was
mother
just
died,
watching. Daddy sat
something
at the
else
table with his head in his
inside
hands,
that house
whispering
woke
prayers that sounded more like broken apologies. Paul cried until his breath hiccuped. And little Rose, she just kept asking when Mama would wake up. But I didn't cry, not then. Shock has a strange way of protecting children. It freezes the parts that hurt the most. Sometime after midnight, my grandfather poured himself a glass of whiskey. The smell filled the room, sharp, bitter, wrong. I remember the glow of the lamp bouncing off his glass as he lifted it toward my father. Life's unfair, boy. You best learn that early. Daddy didn't answer. He just walked to the bedroom he once shared with Mama and closed the door behind him. I should have gone to bed too. Instead, I stayed there, small feet dangling from a chair too big for me, staring at the empty doorway where Mama used to stand when she tucked us in. Grandfather looked at me for a long time. His eyes weren't grieving, they were studying. That was the first moment something in my stomach twisted. He poured another drink, this time slid the glass toward me. "Just a sip," he said quietly. "It'll help calm you." I shook my head, but he didn't like being told no. He pushed the glass closer. His voice was flatter now, colder. "Drink." So I did. One burning swallow. It stung all the way down. He smiled, not kindly, but satisfied. The room blurred and everything felt heavy. My eyelids, my thoughts, my limbs. "Come on, Eleanor," he whispered, placing a rough hand on my shoulder. "You're the oldest now. You've got to grow up quicker than the others." I remember the hallway spinning as he guided me, dragged me toward the back bedroom. Not mine, not Daddy's, his. I remember trying to speak, but my tongue felt thick, like words were drowning before they ever reached the air. Then came the smell, tobacco, sweat, alcohol, and the weight of him pressing me down. I wish I could say I fought. I wish I could say I screamed. But grief and fear steal strength faster than anything, and I was only 10. Pieces of that night are missing. My mind locked them away so I could survive, but other pieces never left. His breath in my ear, his voice telling me I was a woman now, his hands where they never should have been. And when dawn finally crept through the thin curtains, I wasn't the same child anymore. Mama was gone, and so was my childhood. But nobody knew. Because when I stood up that morning, washed my face, and braided my hair, I learned the rule that would follow me for years. Silence keeps the peace. But monsters don't stop once they taste power, and mine was just getting started.
Days after Mama's funeral slipped by like a long storm, quiet on the outside, violent underneath. People stopped by with food, prayers, and soft looks, full of pity. They said things like, "She's in a better place," and "God needed another angel." But none of those words helped us sleep at night. Daddy worked longer hours in the fields, maybe because working hurt less than remembering. Paul stayed close to Rose, protective in a way an 8-year-old shouldn't have to be. And me? I lived in 2 worlds. In one, I cooked, cleaned, braided Rose's hair, and pretended to smile when neighbors asked how we were doing. In the other, I walked on eggshells, waiting, listening, fearing the sound of heavy footsteps and the low voice that called my name when nobody else was around. Grandfather didn't come to me right away. He was patient. Predators often are. For the first week, he treated me like I was invisible, watching from the porch, smoking his pipe, eyes following my every move. Every time he looked at me, my stomach twisted into knots. Then the excuses began. "Come help me fix this gate. Bring me that hammer. Take these supplies to the shed." No one questioned it. After all, I was the oldest. Helping was part of being responsible. That's what everyone believed. But each task led to the same thing. Doors closing, hands gripping, threats whispered. He never yelled. He didn't need to. His weapon wasn't rage. It was the terrifying calmness of someone who believed they were untouchable. "If you tell anyone," he whispered once, "your daddy will fall apart. He just buried his wife. Do you want to be the reason he buries his sanity too?" I didn't understand manipulation then, but I understood fear. So I nodded, and I stayed silent. Weeks turned into months. The more I tried to forget, the more the nightmares returned, sharp, vivid flashes that woke me gasping for air. Sometimes Daddy rushed into the room, holding me while I shook. "Just a dream, sweetheart. You're safe." But I wasn't. Not yet. School gave me brief moments of relief. For a few hours each day, I wasn't a prisoner. I was just a quiet girl with hollow eyes and forced smiles. My teacher even asked once, "Are you feeling all right, Eleanor? You don't laugh like you used to." I lied. I got good at lying because that was the only way to survive. Then one cold evening, months after Mama's death, my grandfather approached me in the kitchen while Paul and Rose were in the other room and said something that froze every bone in my body. "You're growing fast," he murmured. "Soon you won't need hiding. Soon you'll understand your place." That was the night something shifted. Not in him. In me. Fear was still there, but something new formed beside it. A spark. A question. A whisper inside my mind. What if someone finally noticed?
It happened on an afternoon that looked ordinary. Sunlight pouring across the kitchen floor, dust floating in the air like lazy snow. I was washing dishes while Rose played with buttons and thread on the wooden table. Paul was outside practicing slingshot shots into an old rusted bucket. Grandfather was supposed to be in town buying feed, but the screen door creaked open too early. That sound alone sent a chill straight through me. He stepped inside, eyes glassy and breath thick with whiskey. Rose froze. Even at her age, she sensed danger like animals do before a storm hits. He didn't speak at first. He just stared at me, slow, heavy, deliberate. Then, with a voice thick and low, he said, "Come with me." My hands trembled. I reached for a towel, pretending I needed more time, hoping, praying Daddy would walk in, or the phone would ring, or Paul would burst inside, anything. But nothing interrupted the silence. Grandfather's jaw tightened. Now, before I could move, a voice cut through the room, not loud, but strong enough to stop him. "No." I turned. It was Rose. She stood between us, tiny hands balled into fists, chin shaking but raised, eyes full of fire instead of fear. He glared at her. "Little girl, you don't know what you're talking about." She didn't back down. "You leave Ellie alone." For a moment, the world felt suspended, like the air itself was waiting. Grandfather stepped forward, hand raised, not in the way people raise a hand to guide a child, but the way someone raises a hand to punish. That's when another voice entered the moment. "What do you think you're doing?" Daddy stood in the doorway, mud on his boots, sweat on his face. But his expression was something I had never seen before. Not tired, not grieving. angry. Grandfather lowered his hand slow, careful, like a cornered animal adjusting its strategy. He muttered, "We were just talking." Daddy didn't blink. "Talking," he repeated. "Funny, because my kids look terrified." Rose ran to him and wrapped her arms around his leg. My breath finally returned, shaky and uneven. Daddy rested his hand on her head before turning his eyes toward me. He said softly, "Sweetheart, has he hurt you?" My body locked. My throat closed. Every instinct screamed to stay silent. But my heart, tired, bruised, and begging for rescue, moved before my voice did. A single tear escaped. Daddy saw it, and that was enough. He stood, turning to face the man who'd stolen months from my childhood. "You leave this house, and you never come back." Grandfather's eyes narrowed. "You don't know what you're doing." Daddy stepped forward, not as a grieving husband or tired farmer, but as a father finally awake. "I do now. But monsters don't walk away quietly, and mine wasn't finished."
Grandfather didn't leave that night. Maybe he didn't believe Daddy would truly force him out. Maybe he thought fear still ruled our house. But things were different now. A line had been drawn, and he knew it. Daddy didn't say another word to him. He spent the evening keeping us close, sitting at the kitchen table with Paul on one side and Rose on the other, while I helped him make dinner with trembling hands. He never asked for details. He didn't need to. A single tear had told him more truth than any sentence could. But fear doesn't disappear just because it's been seen. Later, after we were sent to bed, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My heart raced with a new kind of terror, not the silent suffering I'd grown used to, but the kind that comes when you're waiting for something dangerous to strike back. And I was right to worry. Sometime past midnight, a fudge shook the hallway wall. Daddy's voice roared and another crash followed. I scrambled from bed and rushed into the hall, Paul and Rose right behind me, eyes wide, feet bare. Grandfather was trying to push his way into Daddy's room, fists swinging wildly like he lost every last thread of control. He shouted accusations, cruel, slurred words about loyalty, about respect, about how we were nothing without him. Daddy fought back, not with drunken rage, but raw desperation. Protecting us gave him strength I'd never seen before. He shoved Grandfather toward the front door, trying to force him out physically. Grandfather grabbed the lamp from a side table, raising it like a weapon. That's when Daddy saw us in the hallway, and something in him lit up like fire. He lunged forward, wrestling the lamp from Grandfather's grasp. A moment later, the lamp smashed to the floor, glass bursting into shards. Daddy shoved him again with everything he had left. The door flew open. Grandfather stumbled into the darkness outside, but not before turning back long enough to look directly at me. That stare didn't hold power anymore, but it held a promise. "This isn't over," he hissed. Daddy slammed the door shut and locked it. He didn't say anything for a while, just pressed his forehead against the wood, breath shaken. The police came the next morning. Daddy made sure of it. Grandfather was arrested and charged, not just for the attack, but for what he'd done to me. Daddy demanded accountability. He didn't care about whispers or judgments or shame. He cared about his children. For the first time since Mama's death, I felt something return. Something small, but real. Safety. Therapy came later. Healing took years. Nightmares still haunt me sometimes. But I am not broken. I am not silent. And I am not that scared little girl anymore. I'm Miss Ellie now. I bake pies, I plant flowers, I smile at neighbors. And I stand tall. Because monsters come in human form, but so do heroes. And sometimes the greatest hero is a father who finally sees and fights back. You never truly forget the darkness you survived, but you learn to live in the light anyway.